Imagine this. It's 1955, a sweltering summer night in rural Pennsylvania. The kind of night where the cicadas scream louder than your thoughts, and the air hangs heavy with secrets. In a crumbling farmhouse on the edge of Amish country, a young widow named Eleanor Hayes sits alone, her hands trembling as she fiddles with her late husband's prized possession, an old Zenith console radio, a relic from the war years. He died 10 years earlier, in 1945, a broken man haunted by what he saw on the battlefields of Europe. She hasn't touched the thing since the funeral. Tonight, though, grief pulls her like a tide. She flips the switch. First, nothing. Just the hiss of white noise, like the world holding its breath. Then a crackle. Not random static, but deliberate. A low hum builds, vibrating the floorboards. Eleanor's heart pounds as a voice emerges. Clear as crystal, warm as a forgotten embrace. Eleanor, it's me, Tom. I'm sorry. For everything. She freezes. That's her husband's voice. The same gravelly timbre that used to whisper, "I love you," before shipping out. But Tom Hayes has been dead for a decade, buried in a veteran's plot with a purple heart pinned to his chest. No recordings, no tricks, just dust and silence until now. What if the dead don't stay dead? What if they wait, patient, persistent, until the veil thins just enough for them to reach back? This isn't some campfire tale. This is the true story of the Hayes radio incident, a classified enigma that rocked post-war America, buried in FBI files and whispered in paranormal circles for decades. A voice that didn't just speak, it confessed. It accused. It unraveled a scandal so dark, it could rewrite history. In the next hour, we'll dive into the shadows of 1940s espionage, wartime horrors, and a technology that bridged the living and the lost. Was it a ghost, a hoax, or proof that some sins echo forever? Buckle up, classified seekers, because once you tune in, you can't tune out. To understand the voice, you have to know the man. Thomas Tom Hayes was born in 1923 in the steel mill town of Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, a place where the air tasted like iron and ambition. Son of a welder, he dreamed bigger. Radio waves, not rivets. By 1941, at 18, he enlisted in the U.S. Army Signal Corps, the unsung heroes who kept the lines open when the world was screaming. Tom was a whiz with transmitters, antennas, the invisible threads that stitched battles together. But war doesn't care about dreams. D-Day, June 6, 1944. Tom was embedded with the 101st Airborne, parachuting into hellfire over Utah Beach. His unit's job? Set up mobile radio relays amid the chaos, dodging mortars, transmitting coordinates that saved lives or sealed fates. That's when it started. In the foxholes between bursts of gunfire, Tom began picking up anomalies. Not enemy chatter, not allied codes, voices, faint at first, like whispers on a detuned dial. Hayes' turn back the bridge is a trap. One night, during Operation Cobra, a voice, clear, urgent, warned his squad of an ambush. They rerouted. 20 men lived. Tom told no one, chalked it up to adrenaline, shell shock. But the voices kept coming. In German, in English, always prescient, always personal. By 1945, as the Allies pushed into Germany, Tom was deep in OSS territory, precursor to the CIA, running covert ops from a bombed-out chateau near Remagen. There, the voices turned sinister. They named names. Collaborators in high places, American officers selling intel to the Nazis for post-war fortunes. One transmission, logged in his journal, Colonel Vance, the gold shipment Rhine, midnight. Tom investigated, found crates of looted art vanishing into Swiss banks. He reported it up the chain. Days later, a friendly fire incident left his unit decimated. Tom survived, but scarred, physically with shrapnel in his leg, mentally with nightmares of static-filled screams. He came home a hero, Purple Heart and all. Married Eleanor, a quiet librarian with eyes like summer skies, settled into a job fixing radios for the local NBC affiliate. But the war followed. Night terrors, bottles of bourbon, and that old Zenith radio shipped back from Europe, a captured German model etched with swastikas under the paint. Tom tinkered with it obsessively, as if chasing echoes. Then, one rainy night in April 1945, he died in what was ruled a suicide by carbon monoxide from the family car. But whispers said murder. Eleanor never believed it. Tom's death shattered her. The official story: despondent vet, hose from exhaust to window. But the coroner noted odd burns on his hands, like electrical surge. And in his pocket, a crumpled note. The voices know. Tell no one. 10 years pass. America booms, Eisenhower highways, Levittown suburbs. But in that farmhouse, silence reigns. Until June 1955, the night the radio wakes. What did Tom's voice say first? And why did it sound afraid? June 17th, 1955. Dusk bleeds into night over the Hayes farm. Eleanor's 32, but grief ages her like bad whiskey. The house smells of mothballs and regret. Tom's clothes still in the closet, his tools scattered like forgotten prayers. She's been sorting his papers, hunting closure. A yellowed OSS dossier slips out. Redacted reports on anomalous transmissions. Tom's handwriting, not interference. They're listening back. Curiosity or madness drives her to the living room. The Zenith looms like a sarcophagus, dials caked in dust. She wipes it clean, plugs it in. The tube warms with a reluctant glow. She twists the knob, seeking familiar stations. WGLD for Phillies games, maybe some Rosemary Clooney to drown the loneliness. Nothing. Just white noise, a roaring void. She sighs, reaches to unplug. That's when it happens. Pop, like a distant gunshot. The static modulates, dips low, rises sharp. Then the voice. Ellie, don't unplug. Please, I'm still here. Eleanor's hand freezes mid-air. The voice is unmistakable. Tom's baritone, cracked with age and something else. Panic. The same way he sounded the night he came home from the war. Shaking, whispering about the bridge and the gold. She backs away, knocking over a lamp. Tom, she whispers. Her voice cracks like thin ice. The speaker crackles. A long pause. Then, they're coming for you, Ellie. Burn the papers. The ones in the attic. Before they... Static. A scream not human. A high-pitched whine like metal tearing. Then silence. Eleanor doesn't sleep. She tears the attic apart until dawn. Hidden behind a loose brick. A steel box. Inside, Tom's war journal. Photos of Nazi officers shaking hands with American brass. A map of the Rhine with coordinates. And a reel-to-reel tape labeled Voice, Do Not Play. She plays it anyway. This is Sergeant Thomas Hayes, Signal Corps, recording for whoever finds this. The transmissions aren't German. They're not Allied. They're older. They know what we did at Remagen. They know about the gold. And they're not letting us forget. The tape ends with a single word, whispered in a voice that is not Tom's. Verator. Traitor. 3 days later, the radio speaks again. This time, it's not just Tom. There are others. A child's voice. A woman sobbing in German. A man reciting coordinates 47.7831N, 7.5667W. Over and over, like a broken record, Eleanor writes them down. Later, she'll discover they point to a mass grave in the Black Forest. Unmarked. Forgotten. Neighbors notice. The local sheriff, a World War II vet himself, stops by. Ma'am, that radio's been dead for years. You sure you're not just grieving? She plays him the tape. His face drains. He leaves without a word. That night, the radio doesn't whisper. It shouts, Ellie, they're in the walls. The gold. It's cursed. Tell them I'm sorry. A gunshot. Static. Then laughter. Not Tom's. Eleanor unplugs the radio, rips the cord from the wall, throws it in the barn. The next morning, it's back on the shelf. Plugged in. Dial glowing. The radio wouldn't stay dead. And neither would the truth. July 1955. 2 weeks after the first broadcast. Eleanor hasn't left the house. The radio speaks nightly now, always at 3:17 a.m. Always the same pattern, Tom's voice. Apologetic. The child's voice. Begging. The coordinates. Silence. She's started recording on a Webker reel-to-reel. Tapes pile up like evidence in a murder trial. Then the knock. 2 men. Novallis. One introduces himself as Agent Carver, Department of the Army. The other doesn't speak, just stares. Carver's smile is thin. Mrs. Hayes, we've had reports of unusual radioactivity. National security concern. Mind if we take a look? They don't wait for an answer. They dismantle the Zenith in the kitchen. Pull out the guts. Tubes, capacitors, a strange coil wrapped in copper wire etched with symbols. Not English. Not German. Carver's face twitches when he sees it. Where'd your husband get this set, ma'am? Germany, 1945. He said it was a souvenir. The silent agent pockets the coil. Carver hands her a form. Non-disclosure agreement, 25 years. Sign this. Forget the radio. Forget the tapes. Or we'll have to help you forget. Eleanor signs, but she's already mailed copies of the tapes to 3 places. The Philadelphia Inquirer. A parapsychologist at Duke University, Dr. J.B. Rhine. Her sister in Canada. The men leave. That night, the barn burns. The radio, gone. But the broadcasts don't stop. They move. To the car radio. To the neighbor's TV. To the payphone at the gas station. August 1955. The story leaks. A small blurb in the Lancaster Intelligencer. Widow claims dead husband speaks via radio. Authorities investigate. Within 24 hours, the story vanishes. The reporter, transferred to Alaska. The editor, fired for fabrication. Eleanor disappears. Officially, moved to live with relatives. Unofficially, last seen boarding a train to D.C. with a suitcase full of tapes. Declassified FBI memo, 1973. Hayes incident. No further action. Subject deceased 1957. Cause unknown. But the radio? It resurfaces. In 1962, at a Pittsburgh pawn shop. A teenager buys it for $5. 3 nights later, his mother hears her own dead son's voice. Killed in Vietnam, 2 years before he was even drafted. The radio was cursed. But who cursed it? And why? Dr. Joseph Banks Rhine, pioneer of parapsychology, receives Eleanor's package in late July 1955. Inside, 3 tapes, a letter, and a single photograph of the Zenith's strange coil. Rhine's team runs tests. Tape 1, Tom's voice. Spectral analysis shows frequencies below human hearing, infrasound, known to induce panic, hallucinations. Tape 2, the child's voice. Age regression, 8 to 10 years. Accent, Bavarian. No match in missing persons. Tape 3, unplayed. Labeled, do not open, Tage. They play it anyway.
Die Stimmen lügen nicht. Das Gold ist Blut. Die Toten zählen.
Translation. The voices do not lie. The gold is blood. The dead are counting. The tape ends with a tone, 432 Hz. The room's temperature drops 15 degrees. The oscilloscope flatlines. One researcher, a grad student named Margaret Voss, begins hearing the child's voice in her dreams. She finds the Rhine coordinates on a map, books a flight to Germany. She's never seen again. Rhine shuts the project down, labels it instrumental transcommunication, possible hostile entity. The tapes, sealed in a lead-lined box, buried in the Duke archives. The radio, tracked to a government warehouse in Dayton, Ohio, same hangar as Project Blue Book UFO files. 1963. The radio is tested by Wright-Patterson AFB. Results: emits ELF waves, extremely low frequency, linked to submarine communication and mind control. When powered, it attracts lightning. 3 strikes in 1 storm. A technician hears his future self warning him to quit before the promotion. He quits, dies in a car crash the next week. The final report, declassified in 1995, object exhibits non-local consciousness. Recommend indefinite quarantine. Do not attempt voice contact. But someone did attempt contact. In 1971, a ham radio operator in Erie, Pennsylvania, picks up a signal on an unused frequency. This is Sergeant Thomas Hayes. If you're hearing this, run. The dead don't speak unless they have something to say. And Tom Hayes? He never stopped. Eleanor didn't die in 1957. She was hidden. Witness protection. New name, Mary Ellis. Lived quietly in Tucson until 1992. Before she died, she mailed one final package to a journalist. The original reel-to-reel. A letter. The radio. The letter reads, "Tom wasn't haunted by ghosts. He was haunted by guilt. The gold wasn't Nazi loot. It was payment for silence. American officers sold coordinates to U-boats. Let convoys sink. Thousands died. Tom knew. He was ordered to jam the distress calls. He did. The voices? The drowned. They followed the frequency home. The cassette? Recorded in 1991. Eleanor's voice. Weak. The radio isn't cursed. It's a witness. It remembers every transmission. Every lie. Play this at 3:17 a.m. on June 17th. Tom's last chance. The journalist does nothing until 3:17 a.m. exactly. This is Tom. LEICU. The boy from the convoy, he forgives me. Tell the families. The gold is at the bottom of the Atlantic. Let it stay there. Let us stay there. Goodbye. The radio power's down. For good. The journalist investigates. Finds a sunken wreck off Nova Scotia, USS Leopold, torpedoed 1944.
Cargo manifest, miscellaneous bouillon 12 crats.
Never salvaged. The families? Some receive anonymous letters. Photos of the wreck. A single line, he's sorry. So are we. The radio, donated to the Smithsonian. Locked in a vault. Label, do not power on. But late at night, security guards swear they hear faint music. Glenn Miller, In the Mood. The last song Tom and Eleanor danced to before he left for war. Some frequencies never go silent. Some apologies echo forever. This is the classified room. If you heard something tonight, you weren't alone.